Where it says li, in David that says, and many different times it says li, our sages tell us li means it doesn't budge, it's there forever. Infinite, everlasting, eternal. And the reason for this redemption is because Berabim, many were with me. And here again the Rebbe brings two explanations. Shebazeh Beis Pirushim, which is very unusual in a Pada B'Shalom Maimer to go into all these different explanations of the different words. Usually the Rebbe takes a direction, an approach, and begins explaining the topic. Here the Rebbe is like giving some information about how all these words could be interpreted. Different formats. Some of them are one extreme to another.
And these are all points.
Yeah, these are all points that are Poshet. I mean, this Poshet gives out, sheds light, and with this we understand how other Hasidic discourses that begin with this verse, how they're explained, because this includes many of these different explanations on this verse. That the reason why it was a peaceful redemption is because Kivirabim, many were with me. So there are two explanations on that. Aleph, what does it mean, the Koyal Tfilas Harabim? The prayer of many that prayed on behalf of David HaMelech. Beis, the second meaning is the Koyal HaGeula, it goes on the redemption. That many were redeemed with him. Sha'geula hi gam shel Harabim. Balderech HaLoshon HaYodua, like the Loshon which we know from Yud Beis Tammuz, Lei Eisi Bilvad Gol HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chulu, that when the previous Rebbe was redeemed from prison in 1927, he said, not only me Hashem redeemed, but a Kol Asher, Kol Mechabev Teira, and Kol Asher B'Shem Yisrael Yechuna. That a person even, huh?
You have it in the Chumash too, by Sarah.
Yeah. That it was Hasis, everybody Hasis was included.
Tzchek
Asel Yalikim, yeah, that it was many were helped. So what is it over here, the Indian of Geula? Geula means that there's actually a Geula of... B'meila, what is he saying over here? That the Al-Friedrich Rebbe says, the Geula was a Geula that included everybody, even one that just considers his name a secular name, but he has also a nickname, a Jewish name. Or forget, in other words, this is B'Shem Yisrael Yechuna. It's a Shem HaKinui. His nickname is a Shem HaKinui.
This is forever, he meant? This is for all the Dorot, not just them?
Pashtus.
If it's... He shows other Russians that he won, and that was the whole point. It's not him; it's the whole Torah. The whole Torah was,
It's like everything that represents Torah mitzvah. So it's like the whole Jewish nation. He stood up.
It's for all
the Russian
Pashtus, all the redemptions, all the geulas are things that have an effect and impact on always.
He was
Especially
just
broke through
representing
them.
the whole.
Yeah, he was he was in charge of Yiddishkeit in Russia then.
You said the Rebbe had a heart attack at a certain point in history, one like with the Alter Rebbe and his birthday or something like that. Like Ula or something.
Alter Rebbe?
Yeah, the Rebbe the Lubavitch Rebbe had a heart attack at a certain point in history.
Shmini Atzeres.
It coincided with Alter Rebbe or something. I don't know.
In age or in date?
Yeah, I think in date.
In date, Shmini Atzeres is the Friedrich Rebbe's Ushpizin. Previous Rebbe's Ushpizin, the guest, Ushpizin, that comes every day from Sukkot, is the Friedrich Rebbe's day.
No, it was with Alter Rebbe. Okay, forget it.
Ah, so danach. Was ich gelegen da, ich habe... Wait a minute, so we're learning the same Maimon, just have to make sure we didn't confuse anything. Yeah. Okay. Now that we know all the explanations on the verse Pada V'Shalom, so the Rebbe continues in Sif Gimel, he's also on the Avedas Adam, in the Aved of a person, as it's mentioned, the Hasidic discourses. With this we also understand that they're also in Torah. That since it applies in the service of the person to the Almighty, so it is also. So we understand that it's also in Torah, as the verse says, "Zeis HaTorah Adam." That what is Torah Adam, the person. As our sages tell us, that Hashem has looked into Torah and created the world. Moving the other Rabba in Yonim and B'Torah. From this we understand that the Yonim are in Torah. U'mimenu nimshachim leila. And from there, they come to world. Because Eivishter looked in Torah and created the world. From this we understand that they're in Torah, and from Torah it comes down to world.
They have to be in Torah.
Have to be in Torah.
If they're in the world, they have to be.
They have to write, because everything has to go through Torah. Because everything was created through Torah. And to understand what does it mean he redeemed in peace my nefesh, as it is in Torah, in the Yodua, the Torah lebashamayim. Torah was not given in heaven, v'nitna lemata baretz dafka. It was given dafka in this physical world. This is also the lashon that the Rebbe once said. I think I mentioned it lately. I don't remember where. That the Rebbe said there was a person came once to the Rebbe. This is in the late 1980 in Tavshim Amalef, late 80, and he tells the Rebbe that the situation of that person's situation is very gloomy. He says heaven has come down to earth. It's like the world is coming to an end. So the Rebbe says, Petach, Shamayim is Arabikum and Tzoretz, das ist doch Matan Torah. He says, heaven came down to earth, this is Matan Torah. He says, what is it all? He says, Petach, full, that's an expression in the Sikha that Rebbe mentioned it. So Mela, ve'yes, she'atera nimtzas lemata, since Torah finds itself here, b'mokem ha'cheshav ha'sichlus, in darkness and foolishness, tzorech liyas inyan ha'b'diyah b'sholim, b'Torah. So there needs to be first the inyan b'diyah, the redemption through Torah. And from Torah comes down the world. Val yedei zeh nasa, yisin ra'er min ha'cheshav. Mela, what is accomplished then is that there is light coming out through the darkness, which is shalei berech more. See and give a look on 14, verse 8. Alpia Yadu, it should be Hemshech Hayim Beis and Tavshin Tezvav.
What does he say?
Sefer, no, was noch? Tavshin Tezvav, the Maimer is not there from Rebbe. Tavshin Tezvav, Tzivav. Und Tavshin Tezvav?
No.
Peladik, okay.
What does he say? He says, since the Torah came down to the world, it needs to be redeemed?
No, wo sagt er?
Second line.
Oh, yeah, Inyan Abdiyah B'Teira.
We want Torah in the world.
Okay, let's get to it. Let the Rebbe get a chance to sit to express it over here. Just a minute. The Rebbe explains it. There's a Maimer from the Rebbe, Tovshin Tezvov, Achen Shal Pesach, V'nigol Kved Hashem, and the Rebbe says the same Inyan that we're going to, the same concept that we see over here. Based on what is known, that Apshita, that in the higher worlds, the Pshitos, which means something that we take for granted. What is it? The fact is, it's Elikus. And if there's something renewed, a new thing, it shows on an entity, on a creation. Avalamata, in this physical world, is exactly the opposite. The Apshitos hu Ametzios, by us, we're taken for granted. This is established fact. It's a world. If there's something new, this is out of the world. This is godliness. Something happened. A miracle happened. This is not our usual world. And when there's a need for revelation of godliness, in order there should be an inyan of a renewal, a change. Is a inyan abdiyah. So this is the inyan of b'diyah, redemption. Redemption, uplifting world from its natural structure. The same thing is also in Torah. That in Torah, in the Aveda in Torah is also. There's an Aveda through Torah, there's Aveda through davening. There is a service through studying Torah, and there's a service through prayer. There's many different Ifanim, but Bechlal Beis Ifanim, two Ifanim. The same way that in the Aveda of a person, there's a redemption in the way of a Milchama, which means that you have to wage war in order to accomplish a redemption, to redeem something. And then there's a redemption in peace, that it's done in a peaceful way. This is the difference between tefillah, prayer, and learning Torah. Learning Torah is in a peaceful way. He learns, he states the verdict for a certain thing, and that accomplishes a certain refinement in the world. On the other hand, when it comes to prayer, he has to struggle with his inclination, with an ego.